Good afternoon. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. Live in Focus on this August 30th, the year of our Lord 2022. I hope everything is well in your life, or you're on a journey to wholeness and you made the decision to begin a new life. And we're here to help you do that tonight. So, a couple of announcements. Our theme, as you know, is never stop arriving. I want you to arrive continuously. Set you a goal. Set your incremental goals so that you can make steps to get to your main goal. And then never quit arriving. Arrive at the first increment. Take a deep breath, regroup, head on out to the next one. So here we go. Couple of announcements. Our PTSD classes are in Bonham every Thursday at 6 p.m. at the First United Bank building, the Maze Room. It's for combat veterans mainly. We have a great group, a crowd, and we discuss the issues that all of you face with your PTSD. And then it's from 6 to 8, and we also provide dinner. So we look forward to seeing you Thursday night at 6 o'clock in Bonham, Texas at the First United Bank in Bonham, Texas. Here's our theme song.
Lift the load from my shoulders, shake the chains from my heart. Let the crushed and silent voice within declare a new start. Song of renewal deep in my heart, sung in the daylight,
Sung by Lindsay
sung
Reed.
in the dark. Troubles in this life weigh on my mind, but I live stronger, stronger to leave them behind. Living doesn't last forever.
You're watching on YouTube? Please click like.
I wanna live while I'm here. Recovery's on the way. Breathe in the wonder. Today is not forever. Dream big, see clear. Life is now or never. One single life, one single love, one single voice I'm flying above. Over the doubts and fears, over the wasted years, over the mountains that get in my way. This chance won't see tomorrow. I gotta live it today. Living doesn't last forever. I wanna live while I'm here. Recovery's on the way. Breathe in the wonder. Today is not forever. Dream big, see clear. Life is now or never. Now or never.
For the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been discussing first principles. First principles are breaking down a project to the lowest common denominator, or the minimum amount of material and tools you need to accomplish what you have designed. So we've been talking about first principles in mental health and substance abuse. We've broken it down to 4 principles. Clarity, or thought, coming to your senses. Choices, behavior, and relationships. So those are the basic principles that we have broken it down to. Many of us, life has deflated us. It's taken all the wind out of our sails. We're stuck. We have no mental energy, I call it, spiritual energy. We have none of those things. Our life is just as deflated. And there's not hardly any life in us. We're just going along. I call people like this cardboard people, because they have lost all their emotions and all their hope and all the things that makes their life or makes our lives wonderful. So, if you're a deflated soul, I want you to understand that God has a great, I'm trying to find the right one I wanted to get to today. So, we've discussed this several times, that Adam and Eve were in the garden, and God made Adam out of mud or dust and water. Some way he made him. He didn't speak him into existence like he did the sun, moon, stars, grass, trees, animals. God actually made Adam with his own hands to look just like him and put his DNA in him. But he was still a mud man. He had no life in him. His soul was deflated. And it said God breathed into his nose or mouth, and he became a living soul. His heart started beating. His brain started working. His blood started flowing. He could see, he could hear. All that happened to him when God breathed life and inflated his soul that day. And so, behaviors we're going to discuss, the first principles we're going to discuss tonight is behaviors. So, the first thing we discussed last week is clarity of thought. Recognizing who you are, recognizing where you're at, and recognizing where you need to be. Because the prodigal son was in a hog pen, and hog pens are for hogs, not humans. The second thing is choices. After you have a moment of clarity, or you understand where you're at and your identity, then you have to make a choice. Are you going to act upon that understanding that suddenly came to you? Or are you going to just ignore that decision and that thing that you understood where you were at and your identity? Are you just going to ignore it and stay where you're at and continue to live a life of misery and pain and lonesomeness and depression? So the scene you see is a man drinking. I helped a gentleman here about a year ago. He came to me and wanted me to help him stop drinking. He had a wonderful family. He had a very intelligent young man, but he just couldn't stop drinking. So I asked him this one question: what do you do when you start drinking? His behavior was he would get off work, He would go by the store and get him a 30 pack. He would go home, go to his man cave, turn on his music, and drink. Did that every day. And it was ruining his life. It was ruining his marriage. So I said, well, let's change the behavior. Instead of going by the store, whichever route you take to get to your house, and whatever store you stop at to buy you the 30 pack, let's go a different route to your house. Then let's change our behavior. Don't go into the room, shut the door, turn on your music, get your fishing pole, go back, get in your truck, and go someplace and go fishing. Or go to the gym, or go for a walk, but do something that is a different behavior than you normally do. And do it every day. Every day. Because the first few days are the most difficult. And after, they say 20 days, some people say 30 days, there's a book called Automatic Behaviors, and it teaches you how to change your behaviors. And you have to do it every day for at least 30 days for your behavior to become, your new behavior to become automatic. So, let's change our behavior. Okay? Maybe you don't need to go home right away. Maybe you need to go to Starbucks. Okay? Go to the grocery store. Go out and eat with your family. Whatever. Change your behavior and do the new behavior every day. Every day. And he was able to quit drinking because he did something different. He climbed out of the hog pen, and he wasn't in the hog pen anymore, but he still had the mud on him. So to get the behavioral change, he had to start his journey immediately. And he said, I'm going to go back home to my father's house because my father is a loving man and he has plenty and I can work for him. I'm not worthy to be his son anymore. So his behavioral change was he stepped out of the place he was. He made a plan and he started. That was the behavioral change. The next step is relationships. This young man had left home some time before, went to this place where he was. It doesn't tell us where it was. And he started going to bars. He started associating with different people and had a whole different set of friends than he did when he was living at home and living in his hometown. And so he began to do what they did. And he changed his whole behavioral pattern doing that. So he had to change his relationships to get back to where his life had been wonderful. Relationships are the most destructive things for people with mental health issues or substance use disorders. Because relationships usually are not good for us. When we're fresh out of the hog pen and we get connected with people, usually they're not very strong either, so you just go down together. Excuse me. There's a saying that says, if the blind lead the blind, they'll both fall in the ditch. Because if neither one of you can see, then how are you going to know where you're going? So if you connect with someone that can't see and you can't see, then it's going to be a disaster. So you need to take your phone and do a hard reset, wipe out every contact you have on your phone, and only put relationships that will enhance your life back into your phone. Only talk to people that are wanting to help you overcome your addiction or your mental health issues, or maybe you have both. Connect with people that can lift you up, not tear you down. There's a story about a person that would walk down the street, turn right onto a street, and fall into a pit. He would finally get out. The next day, he would walk down the same street, turn at the same street, fall into the same pit. He did that every day. Finally, one day he said, I'm not going down this way anymore. So that's the way it has to be. It's not easy to leave all so-called friends. Probably they're not. You just have a connection with them because they're not helping you change your life and overcome what's going on in your life. So we will continue this next week. First principles and how we can change our lives and be reinvented, totally changed, and have a whole new world at our disposal. We'll start next week with that, and thank you for attending. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God deliver you. May God bring you joy, love, peace, and wonderful relationships. Goodbye. We'll see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m.